babantle. So this is the book review, my first book review. Get excited to just get into it with you guys. Today I'm going to be doing a book review, Viola Davis's Finding Me autobiography, and I hope you guys got some time to fix yourself a cup of tea. Actually, I'll give you some time to go fix yourself a cup of tea. And so I'm going to read the back of the book, which is normally called this. Well, this is where the summary of the book is, or the blurb, and it starts as such. In my book, you will meet a little girl named Viola who ran from her past until she made a life-changing decision to stop running forever. This is my story, from a crumbling apartment in Central Falls, Rhode Island, to the stage in New York City and beyond. This is the path I took to find my purpose, but also my voice in a world that didn't always see me. As I wrote Finding Me, my eyes were open to the truth of how our stories are often not given close examination. We are forced to reinvent them to fit into a crazy, competitive, judgmental world. So I wrote this for anyone running through life untethered, desperate, and clawing their way through murky memories, trying to get to some form of self-love. For anyone who needs reminding that a life worth living can only be born from radical honesty and the courage to shed facets and be you. Finding Me is a deep reflection, a promise, and a love letter of sorts to self. My hope is that my story will inspire you to light up your own life with creative expressions and rediscover who you were before the world put a label on you. But that in itself was so packed and such a raw and honest journey that Viola Davis begins to take us through her autobiography. When I say that this book changed my life in just the space of a year, I read this early last year, and the way it made me, the way I found myself resonating with so much of her examples and what she gives, from being bullied throughout her school life, being called ugly, literally every day having to run as fast as her legs could carry her from school to home, with these boys that would taunt her and bully her and throw rocks at her, until a time she had to stand up for herself. And that pivotal turning moment in this book, when Viola decided to stop running and turn around and face her bullies, literally was the trajectory that started her life, like her turning point in recognizing self and the giant of the voice she has within her. So I'm going to share a few pages that really stuck out, and then I'll also share a few things that this book taught me, share a few things on how this book inspired me, and I hope it would do the same to you. It was an emotional war zone made worse by the war zone at home. I didn't know what boundaries were. I was constantly doing messed up to be seen, exercising any semblance of power and authority. I had to feel alive. I wanted to squeeze out any level of joy and laughs I could. But the worst part is, deep inside, there was a demon and another part of me that was wrestling with the alive me. She, the demon, kept whispering, "You're not good." But the other part, the fighter, the survivor, screamed back a resounding no. School was our salvation. We coped by excelling academically. We loved learning. We didn't want to end up in the same situation as our parents, worrying where the next meal was coming from. School was always our heaven. We stayed late, participated in sports, music, drama, and student government. My sisters and I became overachievers even in areas that didn't interest us. Dolores and Diana made the Rhode Island and National Honor Society. They blazed a path for me, but at school, I was always so sleepy, hungry, and ashamed. I worried I would arrive to school at 8 a.m. and by 8:30, I was falling asleep. For many years, I had problems sleeping through the night. I just never slept. Through the night, at best, I slept periodically, warily, because it was during the middle of the night that a lot of my parents' fighting happened. If I got 2 hours of full sleep, I was lucky. We'd be awakened by a screaming, a screech. The only hope, the only blessing was the fight that didn't last long. But sometimes their conflicts would last all night. At this point, I literally was sobbing from like page 60 to 86. I literally found myself going to parts of my childhood, especially the early part of the book where she talks about the bullying. If any of you went to a Model C school in like post 94, like myself, you would know. I was called the K word. Literally, this is where my love for books stemmed from. I was called the K word. I was told that I smell like urine and I would never amount to anything, because at the time, I just arrived from a township school where we were only speaking Setswana Lesotho. So I then fast forward, went to a primary school in Kempton Park. I think we could count the amount of black kids we were in the school on like at the most both hands. And I started grade 1. I would literally be told nobody wanted to be my friend. Nobody wanted to sit next to me except for one white girl who, she knows who she is, a very good friend of mine. She didn't have one arm. So in a sense, I guess her and I found commonality because we were both bullied, but obviously for different things. And we just would congregate together. And guess what? The library for me, books for me would be my escape. And that's where my love for books began. The things that really resonated with me in this book and what I learned, it taught me how it is important to find your passion at a very young age. Like, to honestly lean into what you're passionate about at a young age can also be your safe place, your place of refuge when the world out there is telling you you're not enough, when even your environment is not allowing you to be enough. Like in this book, Viola digs deep into how her knowing that she wanted to be in the creative arts from a very young age was her safe place. She would even relay that she'd stay at school and they'd participate in all the activities with her sisters because school for them was a safe place. They would even overachieve in things that they didn't like because, again, that was a place that they could express and show that they can be better than where they come from. The second thing that I learned is not to let your environment or background hold you back or down. Like for me, being Wanakokasi at that time, just growing up in an environment that my parents wouldn't even help me with my homework. I had to figure it out, guys. Like many of us had to vele from my generation. There'd be a lot of times you're sitting with your homework and you're trying to figure it out. There was no YouTube then. There was no Dr. Google. You literally would have to be either at the library, which is where again, I found my safe place. So I would always walk to the library, and Birchley Library, and from 2 o'clock when school ends, that's obviously if I didn't have any extra murals, and I just walk to the library and read and research. And that's why I just found a safe place in books. And for me, reading was my passion. For me, being in the arts and culture, I stayed for it. I've always been in an environment where I've always either been on stage, public speaking, debate, I stayed for doing anything that kind of, now looking back at everything that I did and having a YouTube channel, it really makes sense, you know? So yeah, donate your environment. I don't care who you are, even if your parents or your step parents can tell you you'll never make it, or you come from the slums. Like, guys, watch Slumdog Millionaire. That's all I'm saying. That title in itself says it. You can come from the pits of the pits, but become so great. And Viola, in her book, Viola Davis, in this book of hers, not only did she find herself, but through her finding herself, she also found that everybody around her could also find themselves through her, you know. Left to, while she was at Juilliard, she left and she was living obviously on campus. And there was a time the mom, guys, knocks on the back door of the accommodation place. I could say you call it res. And when she opens the door, to her dismay, to her shock, there is her mom and her sisters. They drove down in one of her older sisters' skadonk, skorokorosakolo, like a really raggedy car. She was even shocked how the car got there. And she like, guys, what are you guys doing here? And the mom says, you have to take your little sister. Like, we had to leave. Your dad was on the verge of almost killing me, and you need to stay with your little sister at Reds. Viola's like, guys, are you crazy? I will get expelled. If the dean finds out about this, I will get expelled. But she stayed with her little sister, and she would be in between classes going to check on her sister and her roommate, between her and her roommate, and she would slip out and give her sister food. Guys, Viola comes from the pits, guys, like the way she grew up. And now the woman she is, the powerful woman, she channeled all that anger, all of that hate that she got from when she was growing up, like just the background that would say you'd amount to nothing. She channeled all of that and turned it into a pure ball of magic. The third thing that I learned is how life is a balance of good things and bad things happening at the same time. I mean, there was a time where she had hardly slept, like she always wouldn't. Ish, guys, sorry, I'm constantly doing this. I'm just loving my hair. She would leave and not even have money to apply to go to the auditions to get into Juilliard. Like, she was living alongside such deep poverty, and guess what? She then said she's not going to apply. There was a teacher at school, one of her teachers at school, I think, basically said, no, there's no ways, I'm not allowing you to do that. And they borrowed her money to actually apply and like go to the auditions for Juilliard. And she got in, guys. Imagine she's sitting on this bus from Rhode Island, where she stayed, all the way to New York, where Juilliard is, and she is in a bus, never been in a bus before, driving down to New York, never ever, doesn't even have food. All she had is money for her audition. Like, she had already paid that, and she had to then take the bus back again. I think it was a 4-hour trip from where she stayed through to New York, and she had to take that trip. But all she had in her pocket and inside of her was her passion and her fire of like, I am gonna get in. And boy, did she deliver one of the best performances, and she got into Juilliard. So, and then the last thing, it's how important it is to work on yourself. Take time to be present and rooted in yourself before jumping into a committed relationship or marriage. I mean, Viola started going to therapy. Guys, it's never too late. And I personally feel like as babantle, we need to actually normalize going to therapy, guys. Currently, as we speak, I'm looking for a therapist this year. I need to see a therapist, even if it's once a month, guys. I'd love to make it once a week, but like for affordability's sake, maybe just, once a month, see a therapist. And she started seeing a therapist at the age of 28, when she obviously started making money, a bit of money from her acting gigs and all that stuff, because she knew that she needed fixing from the inside. The amount of brokenness that Viola Davis went through in this book, like, she takes you through it so graphically. The abuse, the addictions, the abortion, like, it's literally a whirlwind and a roller coaster of a beautiful mess, if a mess can be beautiful, you know. So she then got married at 37, guys. So a good almost 10 years after going to therapy, from going to seeing a therapist, she then got married at 37. That speaks volumes. To actually do the work on yourself before you get into a committed relationship is so important. And that's why even in her marriage right now, she is still in a solid, she started a solid foundation in her marriage, not because of wanting to be married, but because of the work she did on herself, so she could then be a better version of herself, not for a better version to somebody, of herself, to herself in her marriage. And that way she could be pouring from a full cup and not an empty one in her marriage. So yeah, but babantle, that is the end of this book review. I'm sorry if I rambled. I'm just getting the gist of this. But I hope you guys were inspired by finding me, Viola Davis. She said it so beautifully in this autobiography, and I would truly suggest that it should be on your TBR for 2024. Ke le rata bo bohle. Please don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like and comment down below, and please share my videos so that algorithm can actually push my videos up and just send it out there, because yeah, without you guys I am nothing. Ndilipara. Without you guys. So thank you so much. Thank you for watching. Have a beautiful, wonderful 2024. Let us read. Guys, can we be a nation that reads? And can we be a nation of Black women that want to empower ourselves in reading such books as Finding Me? Let us all find ourselves. Thank you, Viola Davis. Thank you so much for speaking life into my life through your autobiography. Bye. This dress from Shein. I'm gonna still do a Shein haul, guys. I love it. It's knitted or crocheted. I love the pattern. I love the whites and half a green. It's just, but you know, it's the Shein national dress. I mean, quite a few people have this dress, guys. The thing is, you know, with Shein, the gal is everybody's gal. So I don't know, it's here, it's to the knees. I would have liked it to be longer, like maybe just below the knees, or almost mid-knee, mid-ankle, that situation. But, and on the mannequin it did look longer. But hey, I'm still loving it nonetheless. It's a nice little comfy dress to wear while doing your runarounds. Still looking cute. So yeah, that's what I thought I should do, because I didn't show you guys my outfits, and I'm loving